Here it is. This is Joe's car. This goes on that awesome Pro Street 34. This is a 34.
Awesome.
This is Ed. We're at Spiritcars here. Just got painted.
Yes, fresh paint.
It's a fiberglass car. So when you're painting on fiberglass, you're actually painting on a polyester
Yes.
resin. That's what gel coat is. And what do? How do we start getting that ready?
First, we blemish it, and then we get the gel coat scuffed for primer.
Sand everything.
Sand
it
everything.
good. The mold is waxed before the thing is pulled out. Some of that wax residue can be on there. When you sand it, make sure you don't see a slick spot on it. What do you sand it with before you prime it? We do some body work on the seam, so it's got seams. Like this one's got a seam up here somewhere, and wherever. You don't see them now, but it's got a couple seams on the mold.
For the primer, I'm big on, I can primer over with high build primer from 180 to 220.
Okay,
I'll go
so
over
we're
220.
now. If you go with 120, you got a deeper scratch that you're filling, and now as your primer dries, then that scratch could shrink in.
Yes.
But it's warm now, so it dries pretty quick. But
Yeah.
so we got it all primed with a polyester primer,
Yes.
and that's activated primer. Old lacquer days are gone.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Yeah. So we got that. Now you sand it
For paint,
primer. Yeah.
I knock the orange peel off with 320, and then I go over it with 400.
Okay. Wet, dry.
I use wet.
Okay.
That's
You probably do
preference.
320 dry, and then.
Sometimes I'll knock it down with 320 dry when I'm trying to get it done. The flatter areas, the big areas, trying to knock the orange peel off. But
So
then
you're still straightening a little bit.
Yeah.
With, even though you're with 320, you got this. It's a filler primer.
Yes.
So you're blocking. You're still blocking. You're doing, and now when you hit that 400, you're blocking more.
Yes.
You sand your fingerprints off, or you got
I
it.
do.
You
I've
do.
got my fingernails back.
So a lot of blocking, a lot of sanding.
Yeah.
So this is finished to 400,
Yep.
and then primer, or then sealer.
Yes.
So we use what sealer we use?
On the sealer, I used an epoxy sealer.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
All right. So we got the epoxy primer, epoxy sealer. It's
Yeah.
kind of depending on what you're using it for.
Yeah, it's a sealer.
And there's on the epoxy primer sealers, there's an etching primer, which is an epoxy.
Mhm.
Basically has a different activator. It's got a little acid in it, and it bonds to bare metals.
Yes.
So we've got epoxy sealer on it, and then you can get different color sealers.
Yep.
What color sealer did you
This
use? on
I went over gray.
Okay,
it's
so
gray.
it's over gray. And it makes a difference how much paint you go on top of that.
Yeah.
So then we got color.
3 coats of color and 3 coats of clear. High
So it's a
solids.
base coat, clear coat.
Yes.
On a solid red, you can do a single stage,
Yeah.
possible. But when you do a base coat clear, it's got more depth in it than what
More
you-
depth. You're gonna for cars like these, you're gonna have to sand a single stage anyways. I prefer the base clears.
So this looks pretty good. I mean,
It's
this
not bad. We cut and
cut-
buff it still.
cut and buff, very little orange peel, and it looks worse than it is because we got these LED lights.
Yeah.
That makes we live in a different world. Now you see a bunch of little dots rather than that.
Yeah, they show everything.
Smooth.
It looks a lot different outside.
It looks a lot different outside. If you look at that, you're looking at a lot of what would look like orange peel normally, but it's not. You're looking at the reflection of an LED light.
Yes.
So
They're pretty smooth.
very, very little dust. I don't have my glasses on, but I don't see too much dust here at all.
No, they're pretty clean right now.
It's clean. The cowl's clean. Kind of look around in the front here. The doors are getting ready to buff. The doors are pretty slick without buffing them. But just to go over the top, we want to make sure we buff everything.
Getting ready to start cutting and buffing, yes.
And how do we do that?
On this one, on all of them really, I start with a 1500 because they're pretty smooth. There's very little orange peel.
Right.
We got some minor specks of trash. And that's mainly what I'm going for. While I'm getting my little specks out of it, the orange peel disappears. I do 1500 first, and then I do a 2000, and then I have a 3-stage buffing compound, 3M. When you're done with that, it's shiny.
And there's really kind of a window too. What's our window for buffing? If you let this go for a month before you buff it,
A month is too long.
yeah, might as
It
well
makes
buff
it-
the concrete
yeah,
floor.
it makes it a
You
lot
can still
harder.
buff it, but it's harder.
You know, everybody's a little different on that. You know, some of them say after you bake it, you can cut and buff it 3 hours.
Well,
But
I mean, it is.
I prefer,
It
you know,
is cured by
two
heat, though.
days,
Yeah.
2 to 3 days myself minimum.
So we don't bake here, but
Right.
um,
I prefer like 3 days, and it's still soft enough to sand, but it's.
and I'm thinking we got a spray bake booth.
Oh,
I'm wondering if we don't. We didn't hook up the gas to it. I wonder if we don't start doing that. The boat company is painting their
Yeah.
fiberglass cowls now.
yeah,
And I asked, don't you have shrinkage? He said, no, we bake them.
yeah. They bake
So
everything.
You get everything baked and you don't have a shrinkage in the fiberglass, and so we might want.
It would help in the winter.
So,
You know, we count on the building heat.
so it's a black frame,
Yeah, black
red body, looking good.
tubbed out
Coming
car.
together. This is kind of an update for Joe, and he was here the other day and looking good.
One of my favorite cars that I've seen come through with the tub and the whole, you know, that Pro Street.
It's definitely looking good.
Incredible motor he's got.
Yep.